And we are underway. And the first items we find today, we have split locations. We have a key for this. I missed what was in the house, but we have a key in the sanctuary, so the locked door is available in the escape already.
We've got green pendant on desert and 2 normal crystals on eastern.
And it looks like Andy is making the way to the escape area already, or at least to the uncle. We'll see if he finds a useful weapon back there to aid with the escape. It looks like it was blue mail in the Link's house, so they've already got some good armor to go with this seed tonight.
Not very much fun on that tree pole, though.
Andy finding... Oh, that's a hammer in the escape chest, in the back of escape chest. Or in the uncle chest.
Ooh, meanwhile, we do have red rupees on that bush crab as well.
Walther is checking out the Lost Woods, dropping down right now, and we are seeing a sword down there. We have weaponry already.
Yep, so instead of seeing Andy save and quit, with that hammer in hand, we're going to go straight to Hyrule Castle, where it's nice and easy. We tempered sword damage from that hammer already.
And we did see a check of the lumberjack, but I didn't see on the screen what it was, so perhaps Jack can help us out with that. I see I'm seeing someone saying half magic in lumberjack, so it looks like half magic. That is a nice item to have, but not required, so it probably will not be picked up today. And P-Train getting his sword, and he is continuing with the escape sequence, getting a piece of heart from the first chest downstairs. Going to head towards... Now, if you're familiar with the vanilla game, what the route that they follow in the escape, where Andy's going right now, takes you to Zelda's cell, where she is held captive. She's actually not going to be there today, and we're going to be, instead, just finding her chest there and opening that. We're going to be leaving here.
Okay, we do have that early flute over in Kakariko already, as well as the mirror in that area. So we've got a ton of access pretty early on already. Just a glove away from Dark World access right now in the Moon Pearl.
And the early flute also means we're going to get to hear the musical melody of Unlocking the Duck very shortly as well. So we'll be hearing that. I believe we have P-Train's audio that we'll be getting that on. And there's that flute for him. The route, they're probably going to all go through the well next, just like Walther is right now. Then he'll check the bottle vendor, and then he'll unlock his own flute on the way to the southern part of the village.
Okay, Andy opts to not... Oh, he didn't have that key at that time. To make it to Dark Cross.
Walther getting his map check-in. JP getting the key at the back of the sanctuary. And that's not... I don't know if we mentioned that there's a bag of powder in the bottom of the well as well. That unlocks Magic Bat in case that comes to be necessary later. It also gives fairy ability.
It's going to work out nicely for Andy and JP since they already got that hammer.
And we're getting a look at the chicken hut right now. And as Walther bombs the hole in the chicken hut, we get to hear the music. And as P-Train is our second to unlock the duck, we have Walther find the fire rod in the chicken hut. So the fire rod in the chicken hut, and we have the bug net, the swag net, as some of the community like to call it, hiding in the back of the tavern. So very interesting item layout in Kakariko today. So Andy is now checking the back of Blindside. He's going to start on the item collecting adventure that Walther and P-Train have already done. Brewers is just, or I should say JP, is just behind Andy going into Blind's Hut.
Alright, so we've got 2 swords and a lamp very, very early.
That's never a good sign. Yeah, usually when I say that's never a good sign, we usually are talking about a certain wizard we would prefer not to visit in a regular defeat Ganon Seed, because that visit to that wizard takes about 4 or 5 minutes, and that's 4 or 5 minutes we'd rather spend doing something else if possible. So our runners are going to be hoping that Aghanim does not come into play today with that 2 swords and a lamp already, and progress being locked behind Palace of Darkness.
We just need 2 items right now to avoid Aghanim. We do need that glove, and we do need a Moon Pearl.
Now, the Moon Pearl would have to be in the Light World or on the Pyramid in order to require Aghanim. And again, a Moon Pearl on the Pyramid is possible because you don't have to move anything to get to the Moon Pearl once you get to the Dark World. So this has happened before. It has been seen, and Aghanim would be required in that particular circumstance.
It's like we do have a ton of items already. Unfortunately, it doesn't give us a whole lot of access quite yet. I mean, we still have the entire Death Mountain with that mirror and hammer.
We are now in Mini Moldorm Cave, so named because, well, all 4 Mini Moldorms that are in here. Walther is using bombs to take him out instead of walking across and hitting with the sword. Very nicely done. And getting 20 bucks. Piece of heart, another big 20. Another piece of heart, and, well, the hook shot. That's a good item to find there. So this will make Death Mountain a very plausible play early. They have the access to the Swag Duck, as a lot of people like to call it. And our friendly duck can take us up to Death Mountain when the runners are ready to do so. The hook shot will get them across to Paradox Cave and Eastern Death Mountain. So there's still a lot of additional items they can find, a lot of additional checks they can make looking for that Moon Pearl or those gloves.
Alright, now that magic bat, that early powder, let's see what that goes up. Nothing much though. Not too big a deal on Walther's and P-Train side that they didn't have their hammer when they got that powder. That's always a check that they're going to have on the back of their mind, but it'll be a super fast check, since if they do come back here, it'll be with the purple chest and smiths anyways.
Yeah, magic bat only with the curse of arrows, it looks like. So nothing really to work with there. P-Train is going to get his hook shot from Mini Moldorm Cave in a moment. Walther is on his way to Eastern Palace. Good check at this point before going up to Death Mountain. So he's going to check Sahasrara's closet right now, as it has come to be fondly known, and look for the 3 items back there. Now, we do know where the Green Pearl is, so we could talk to Sahasrara to find out where the Green Pendant is located. We don't have to. We know it's in Desert Palace at this point, so Walther will not be doing that. And just money and love back there, it looks like, today. Now, Walther is not continuing into Eastern Palace, and I find this to be an interesting play. Now, he hasn't picked up the lamp yet that JP found, but dark rooms in Eastern Palace are not as bad compared to a lot of other dark rooms in the game. While it does take you out of logic anything behind the dark rooms, which would mean the big key chest and the boss item itself, while those would be out of logic, they are usually rooms that are not too bad to do. So it is possible that he just may not want to do Eastern Palace until he can get to Palace of Darkness. Maybe trying to do those 2 together is what I believe he's doing.
That one in. Death Mountain's is a lot more lucrative of a check, and at this time avoids that double dip into.
And I agree with that. By the way, we have Bombos on the sick kid. So P-Train in our first round to get one of the medallions. Just a quick explanation of those medallions, by the way. You may notice at the bottom of the tracker there are 2 dungeons with a circle on them that's strangely shaped like the medallions. That represents either the Bombos, Ether, or Quake medallions, the other 2 which are to the right of the Bombos medallion on the tracker. So for those who are not familiar, one of those medallions will open each of those 2 dungeons, and it could be a different medallion for those 2 dungeons. For example, Ether might open Misery Mire, Bombos might open Turtle Rock, or Quake might open Misery Mire, and Ether might open Turtle Rock, which means Bombos is useless for that purpose. So, and one could open both dungeons. So that's what that circle stands for, and those medallions, if all 3 were to be found, you don't have to worry about what those medallions are that open them, because you can get into any of those dungeons then. We have chat already calling for a Pyramid Pearl.
Yep, and so far we don't have any runners going after that bake white. Then after East Death Mountain, there's a lot more of the one-off check that may or may not be worth it right now.
I just want to throw a quick note to JP's check inside Sanctuary, or inside Spectral Rock for one. As we get a map check, and we do see a red crystal. I saw the red crystal on, I believe that was Ice Palace that was on. I didn't catch all the rest of the dungeons, unfortunately.
That looked like it was Ice and Mire.
Right. Now, I did want to bring mention to the fact that JP did check inside Spectral Rock and then leave without going to the back. Normally in Randomizer now, it's common for a lot of runners to prefer to actually go and get the item anyway, regardless of what it is. They don't even check, they just go get it. The reason is because there's a hint tile usually back there. Now, this rule set for this tournament, those hint tiles, which JP's passing another one right now in Tower of Hera, they've been turned off. They're not going to work. So he checked the item, found it was a piece of heart inside. I don't need to go back there, and he left.
Alright, we do have P-Train in here now. I didn't see what was on the first floor, as well as JP.
I think I missed that too. Perhaps chat will be able to fill us in on that. I see Ice Rod Cave has 10 arrows in it, so that's not worthwhile. We're getting to the big chest for P-Train right now in Tower of Hera. That has 10 arrows in it. And JP will be coming down to that eventually. I think he's going to drop in from above in his case. You saw 2 different methods for checking that Tower of Hera chest. One is the bomb jump, which is not the intended way, but is very well known by a lot of our top runners. And JP did the normal, conventional way that Nintendo originally wanted you to do it, dropping through the hole to access the chest that way. And that's the chest that normally has the Moon Pearl in it. I see pendants up at Skullwoods and Turtle Rock as well. And that was our first crystal for P-Train. He is actually the first runner to get a crystal out of our 4 restream runners today. Again, there are about 23, 24, I'm not sure the exact number of runners running in this event today. They are all trying to qualify for the SG Live qualifiers. If you type !SG Live in chat, you can get all the juicy information on the SG Live event that's going to be coming up at the end of October, and you're able to read up about that and learn about all the different events there. They will be broadcast here on SpeedGaming as well.
Alright, item in the basement, so we have both fire sources. Go ahead and check the tower room chest out in here really fast. Just so it's not some random location that's just in the back of your mind while as you're running out of locations now in the light world and still 2 items away from Dark World access.
Yeah, it's a good idea to get this item check out of the way, even though it does waste about a minute of what we call a coffee break. It's a good idea to get it out of the way so it's not on your mind later, as you noted. So we're coming down to that right now. We are finding, after we light the 4 torches, we're not going to worry about the skeletons. Well, we'll kill that one. And we find the almighty Flippers.
Alright, so we are... Well, P-Train's good to check Zora right now. JP is a touch under 200 short.
Yeah, 616 rupees for P-Train is a good number. Walther has enough once he gets downstairs and gets his flippers. So he'll be the second winner able to check Zora if and when he wishes. Hammer was located in what we call Uncle Chest, in the same area where the Uncle is located. Lamp was in Zelda's Cell. And that was just answering a question in chat as to where those locations were. Now, I missed Paradox Cave earlier, so I'm going to see that now, what P-Train is finding. There's a bottle of green goo, some money, and a big 20, some blueberries, and there's our tempered swords. That's where the tempered sword is that Walther picked up. Ooh, Walther tried to get on top of the switch with the fire rod, but the tile pushed him before the switch came up, so he's stuck inside and he has to battle all the tiles away. He's not invincible.
Is a touch lucky. It is actually possible to get completely stuck in one of those blocks if you get stuck at the right spot on them.
I have actually seen that before. It's very unfortunate when that happens because you want to hop down, you can't. You have to mirror if you have it, or save and quit if you don't. So P-Train doing the long, what we like to call the walk of shame when you don't have the boots. If you have the boots, it's a lot faster. Down at the bottom of the hole at the end of that long walk, we only had another 20 bucks, so nothing really to walk for.
Alright, we are going to get that island check. We're going to hop on over to see what we have underneath the bridge. Walther is looking good for his Zora check.
The island was only 10 arrows, by the way, so nothing worthwhile there. We are going to get a check of what's on the hobo, the unfortunate person underneath the bridge. We're going to take whatever item he has. And P-Train is right behind going to the hobo, so let's see what he has. It's just another 20 rupees. And I don't think Andy went over to Turtle Rock yet, but if he wants to, he could check the medallion for Turtle Rock right now. No, actually, no, he can't. He's not in the Dark World. Never mind.
At least not through race legal means. JP does remember that Bushcraft having the 20 rupees for his path to...
That's a good memory of the game knowledge as regards to the 20 rupees on the bush crab. Having checked that earlier, he's able to take advantage of that. We're going to get a check inside the waterfall right now. Walther just checked it. P-Train is doing that right now, and he is on his way to Zora with enough money. And Waterfall was not really worth it, just a red toy and some money. Zora Ledge, by the way, it looks like it was the cape. So that could be an interesting item to get, and I think it's something the runners will go for, because if they come to the point where they find out they have to go through Bumper Cave, that's an item they're going to wish they picked up. So I think runners are going to stop and pick up the cave today.
Definitely on that one. And then right now, Walther and P-Train's routing is actually going to work out a bit more in their favor. It's looking a lot more and more like an Agata Seed. And their last remaining checks, I believe they've checked everything except Eastern Palace. They haven't done any of Hyrule Castle. And then they do have that key to make it to Sewer. And then if we still don't see that glove in Moonpool by that point, that puts him in perfect position to just go straight to Agate Tower from right there.
This could be a very interesting seed, because what if the book ends up in Eastern Palace? And then they're sent to Desert Palace to get the 2 items out of there and defeat Lamolus in there. I think they could, in that circumstance, be able to finish all 3 Light World dungeons before being forced to do Aghanim.
Yeah, and then Eastern Palace, it's like any Light World dungeons, like it's never too bad of an idea to at least enter East. It's a pretty fast check overall.
Yeah, there's no difference between doing Eastern Palace in Go mode or not Go mode. The only thing that you might be able to ignore is the dark chest. Otherwise, every other chest, or maybe the one on the right as well, but other than that, every other chest you're going to be going right by, and you might as well just go and check them anyway. And if you find that you're out of locations to check, so it's not a bad thing to check if you have the ability to finish the dungeon.
Alright, we do have Andy and Sewers. Piece of Heart. Don't think we've seen the map yet, so I think we have 2 items left.
Is P-Train? No, P-Train hasn't done the escape yet, so he's going downstairs right now for that. Walther is also doing the escape with his very, very enhanced weaponry. This dungeon, as we call it, is now a piece of cake. Oh, the bomb didn't work for Andy, so second attempt. And he opens it this time, and is going to check the 3 chests back here. They contain the blueberries, some more blueberries, and that map you were talking about.
Alright, Andy, he's gonna... well, he still needs to check out Zora. And at this point, I could see Walther and P-Train probably may go straight to Agate.
At this point,
it's going to be similar gambles, and it's a pretty close mirror to get you back to Eastern. And
it is a huge gamble, and the way that this gamble would fail would be if the glove is located in Eastern Palace, and that's really the one way it would really fail. If the glove is in Eastern Palace, the book could be in Eastern Palace, ascending to the desert to find the other glove, or the glove could be in the desert. In which case, anyone going to Aghanim is going to take advantage of the time gain from being able to do Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace at the same time. So it's a question of which play is really the better play to make. I think you still lose more time on Aghanim if you want to make that gamble, but it does save time in the long run doing the 2 dungeons together, so it might not be a bad gamble to make.
Yep, Andy's definitely going to do Eastern first. Definitely wouldn't blame runners for either decision at this particular point.
P-Train is doing the back of escape. Let's see if he mirrors to the beginning after checking the chest back here to go, and mirroring the beginning to go to Aghanim is what I mean to say, or if he leaves and does something else. I'll be curious to see what P-Train and Walther do at this point.
Right now in Eastern, we have access to either 2 or 3 items. There's item number 1. We would need both items to be accessible and none on Armos to be able to get Dark World access from this alone, unless we do get that book in here that leads us to deserts.
And what JC is indicating, just to clarify that for anyone not familiar, what he's saying is that if the glove were to be located on Armos Knights, that would be out of logic without... Actually, no, I guess that would be in logic now because they do have the lamp. So it could still be on Armos in that case, but we do not have the bow. So unless they find the bow here in Eastern Palace, they can't get to Armos, and therefore any glove that could be on Armos, we can't get anyway. And P-Train is making the gamble on Aghanim, so we're going to see how that works out for him. He's going to have a bit of a climb through 7 floors to get to Aghanim right now.
Alright, so we've got our Pearl, but we still don't have access to Dark World except through Aghanim right now.
JP is also doing Eastern Palace, by the way. He's a little behind Annie on that right now. full heart container in the
And there is item
big
number
chest.
3. So this Aghanim's tower play is required. We have seen every other location that we have access to in Logic.
And Desert Palace is not available. So actually, have they gone to Agena?
We have seen Agena. I think that was Arrows? No, that was the bottle, yeah.
Okay. And that's being confirmed that was a B bottle. So yeah, I believe we have seen everything, like you said. So Aghanim is required in this seed. So Chad is very happy about this right now. They're through the moon about this.
And unfortunately for P-Train, it's not too terribly much of a time loss to do Aghanim first. It's a short mirror and path to get over to Eastern Palace.
Now the advantage for him is he'll be able to mirror to Eastern Palace after Palace of Darkness, and his best case scenario right now is that the bow is somewhere in Palace of Darkness, because that's where we're going to find most likely some progression here in the form of some kind of handwear. Possibly both pieces of handwear.
Spike Cave is not open yet because we need a glove to lift the block at the very end.
And I think I actually have seen a runner go through Spike Cave and forget that once. That's a very, very annoying thing to forget about. So everyone in chat, we have another one game that we sometimes get to play here, and we get to play it today. Guess how many blue balls Aghanim's going to throw today? What I'm referring to is there's a cycle we're going to talk about in a moment. There's a 50-50 chance during that cycle, on 3 parts of that cycle, that a blue ball can be fired. We already have a guess of 15 from Math Girl in chat, one of our trackers. Everyone else getting their guesses in. I'm going with 3. What do you think it's going to be, JC?
We're going to go with 14.
Ooh, you want a lot of them.
But not the perfect one.
So you just saw the guaranteed orb there. Now, this is a 50-50 shot that P-Train just had. That could have been a blue ball. It was an orb, so he was able to fire it back. The blue ball cannot be fired back. So we still have 0. We have a 3 perfect shots so far. So pretty gentle Aghanim so far. All 4 good shots. That means the 5th shot is guaranteed as well. The most we can get now is 3. You saw that lightning crescendo. That happens after every 4th shot. So will this be a blue ball for a perfect Aghanim? Or no, it is a blue ball. I said that wrong, but it was a blue ball. So 1 blue ball. And now we're going to get an orb or 2 blue balls. No more blue balls. So 2 blue balls was the winner today. If you said that, congratulations. We don't have a prize. Just bragging rights, I guess. Now, considering that Aghanim had a lot, it is required, so it doesn't matter anyway. But considering if this were to be a gamble, that's a very fast Aghanim and not too much time lost in that circumstance. Pyramid item not worthwhile. P-Train not going back for it.
Yep, as soon as P-Train mirrors over, gets over to Eastern, we're gonna have Hype Cave, we're gonna have Grove, we're gonna have Digging Game, we're gonna have Cave 45.
Village of Outcast in general, if we can get into the village from below. Actually, the hookshot we can get in from above too.
Actually, well, with the flippers, we have access to get to Village of Outcasts.
Exactly, we do. Flippers to the area where Catfish is. We can get Catfish check out of the way, then hookshot across to Village of Outcasts. And P-Train is mirroring over to Sahasrara, getting that out of the way, so he's going to portal back and go to Palace of Darkness. Fun little fact about Palace of Darkness, it can only be opened by Kiki the Monkey, everyone's favorite contortionist, who's going to steal 10 rupees every time he finds you, and then demand 100 more to open the dungeon. Now, interestingly, we don't have the Moon Crow yet, so I'm actually trying to figure out where this Moon Crow could be at this point.
You need gloves to lift up the big rock that's along the way to Catfish. You don't have a way back there without gloves.
Oh, that's true. That is very true. And they would need to be in not bunny form to get to Village of Outcast from above because you need to be able to hook shot across. I don't think you can make it without your hook shot.
What I was really hoping for this seed was Hammer to be like on Pyramid or on Pod, with logic requiring Aghanim, but see somebody do a sequence break where you do fake flippers or something from above Pyramid to actually make it across anyways.
This is one of those rare cases where the Moon Pearl has not been found yet. We're running out of locations where that Moon Pearl could possibly be.
We've got the Moon Pearl.
P-Train doesn't have it yet. Where was Moon Pearl?
It is in this map chest coming up on Eastern Palette.
Oh, I completely missed it for some reason. So he's gonna find that and he's gonna portal back then. I don't know how I missed the Moon Pearl. That's weird. Yep, there it is. Well, this works in P-Train's favor very nice. I think he's the only runner who did not check Eastern Palace before going to Aghanim. He's going to be able to portal right back and go right through Palace of Darkness looking for the items in there.
He almost forgot about his item count. Noticed it before he actually left the room, though.
Yep. So he was going back and getting Kiki now that he's not in bunny form, and now Kiki will follow him. And now he can make his way into Palace of Darkness, our first runner inside that dungeon. And Andy is checking, I believe that's the Graveyard Ledge at this point, and a full heart container back there. He is going to take that.
I don't blame P-Train too much since he's already right by Pod, and then there's a good chance he can be locked out logically from this chest right here. And I don't know if he's got I didn't see if we have a potion or not. I thought we have a bee and an empty bottle.
I think he got a bottle of green goo at some point, so and that was in Paradox Cave that he would have found that. Unless he used that at some point, he still has that. The other one, I believe you're right, did have a bee. That bomb was high enough, so just high enough to trigger the floor breaking. Gonna check the chest up here through this locked door. One of these chests coming up has to have a key in order to make up for that locked door, otherwise it'd be kind of hard to get. There's our glove.
So there's glove number 1, okay. A lot easier time to get to the other portals at this point.
So that does open up, as you noted, a couple of portals, one south of Link's house, another one near the Kakariko Village. That does open up those locations normally. Again, you can still access the Kakariko Village through the hookshot path as well, but it's usually more direct to go through Kakariko itself. P-Train may choose to do Catfish while he's in the Dark World on this side too. We'll see what he decides to do that.
And then he's doing a quick little thing. It's a minor glitch that's still allowed for this one. If you use a potion while walking, Link still moves a pixel, but the camera stops for that one frame. What that does is it doesn't move the camera far enough for it to lock in place once you get to the next room. And as far as the game is concerned, as far as enemies dying or staying alive, if they're off the screen, they're gone.
And he finds the shovel. Now this is because he doesn't have the bow, the shovel would be considered a sequence break, so digging up whatever item in there would be continuing a sequence break at this point. But it is an item that we do have, and it will bring the flute spot where the flute is normally found in the grove. that will come into play later, possibly.
A little bit surprised with that mirror when he has hammer and sword beams on the. A little bit extra travel, but
By the way,
not
hey, we're
too
getting a
much.
Skull Woods. We're getting a Skull Woods check from Andy. He just found the big key there. I didn't catch if he found any other items so far. And Turtle Chest, as I refer to it, has a compass. So he's going to head down in the basement. And downstairs there are 2 chests along this linear path. First one is down here below the first set of rupees. It's a key, and there's one more to the left of that. It's another key.
Okay, we do have some swamp plays coming from Walther and JP. A
This is
pretty item-dense dungeon.
It is item dense, but it's also a dungeon that can be a pain to fully clean out. So it's going to be an interesting play to see if this actually has some progression in it.
It's a crystal, so
Yeah.
no big.
Actually, yeah, they have all the items, so they could complete it. Might as well. And hopefully the item count works in their favor, and the items on the left are useless. And there's the map in the dark maze. So we're going to see what's in the big chest over here right now.
Okay, so far in Village of Bacchus, we have
Oh!
both
Titans met!
gloves in pod.
I believe I called that.
That was the play of this.
It was. Anyone who went to Palace of Darkness directly from Aghanim and finished it, as far as they could without the bow anyway, they made the correct play.
Yes, like in P-Train's case, that actually his play into pod makes a ton of sense. Since by the time he got Moonpur, he already had a portal right outside pod. It's like, okay.
So let's see if we can see what the pedestal or the medallion needed for Mr. Umari.
What was the?
It was Bombos. It was Bombos.
What was the? What were the small keys again? Did we have 2 small keys in Do we have the small keys in the Mimic on the Bullock side?
We had on the Bullock side, there was. I saw the shovel over there. I did not catch where the other chest was, but I assume it was a key. Either way, they're not able to finish Palace of Darkness right now because they are still missing that all-important bow. So Eastern and Palace of Darkness would both have to be revisited later. They are both crystals. Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to consider a bow on the pedestal?
Let's not do bow and pedestal today. Yeah, whether or not both those gloves were in logic depends on if we had the small keys on right.
Hopefully we can have another runner who goes to Palace of Darkness and checks that later. Everyone is doing Swamp Palace or Thieves Town respectively right now. Both Swamp Palace on the bottom, Thieves Town for Andy. So we'll have to get another look at that later and find out for sure. I believe the other chest would have been a key because there is a shovel on that side. And I know I missed 1 or 2 keys in chests myself. Here we're going to get our check of Hype Cave from P-Train. Definitely a good place to check. Item rich location, 5 items. We usually like to rate Hype Cave every time we check it as well. First item is Big 20. So 4 chests up here now that we can check. They contain another Big 20, some blueberries, another Big 20, and a small 5. I'm not even going to ask you to rate that Hype Cave, JC, because that's a solid 0.
It was there. Alright, looks like nothing so far in. Don't think any of the runners at the left side yet, so we're still missing a couple items.
I think Walther is going back in to do that.
Same with JB.
Yep, and they both did finish Argus, And I'll talk more about Argus later because we missed the opportunity there. But Argus is the boss, and there are still items left over, so that's why we're going back in. And the shovel spot is handy today. It's out of logical sequence right now because of the way that we access the shovel, but silver arrows are something you will not say no to.
Okay, there's our desert access. Probably won't see that anytime soon for that green pendant when we have so many crystal dungeons that we can at least.
So it looks like the Hammerlock chest in Thieves Town did not pay off, and neither did K45. And by the way, if anyone's wondering why it's called K45, if you were to search for the map of the overworld online, and I'm not trying to give a shout out to the person who did this map, but it's under, if you were looking on Google, it's under someone named Ian Albert. Cave number 45 on his overworld map on the Dark World is that cave, and that's why it has that name.
When you're a baker, you don't loaf around from. Anyways, let's see what this digging game brings for us while Andy finishes up.
20 digs so far, 21 for some blueberries.
Nice.
And we are getting the left side swamp piles check here, still from JP and Wolf. I didn't catch if they opened the first side. I don't think they've gotten to it yet, but we're going to get to see them in a moment here.
P-Train gets to do this nice little combo with that pod play in those.
Both runners going left. They are finding the compass down there. They hook shot across. And the other item down there is through this door. We'll see that last item in 3, 2, 1, and it is a bottle of blue goo. Swamp Palace did not check out. We're gonna get a look at the hammer pegs right now. And he has the frog behind him who is going to eventually be turned back into a lovely dwarf. We're not going to pick up this piece of heart down here in the hammer peg. It's a waste of hammer pegging in that case. And portal back to the light world. Now, I don't think P-Train has checked magic back yet, so he might check that while he's here. Yes, he is. And that's why he walked to the left to place that portal where he did. That means he has an unobstructed path when he walks back up to take the dwarf into his house. And he can portal back to get the purple chest.
Oh, I missed what Bombos was.
I missed it too. I'm watching P-Train right now. According to chat, Bombos was a big heart, a full heart. And thank you, chat, for aiding us on this. A lot hard to watch Forerunners, so you're helping identifying as we miss is very useful.
All right, on Smith.
And what do the sword makers have today? What are they crafting? They are crafting love. Just a little bit of it.
That looks like a pretty big cookie that they've got on the table there.
Yeah. So P-Train getting the purple chest. He's gonna do the walk through the probably the Grove area. I think he checked K45 already, so he's just gonna be walking right down. He could go to the light world and flute. That'd be a lot quicker. Maybe he's checking something else.
He hasn't checked muster of Outcast.
Oh, he's checking the village of Outcast. Okay. And there's his shield. The shield not an important item. It can be considered logically required for places like Laser Bridge, where you have those shooting eye statues, and the mirror shield can block those. You can also have items like the King of Samari being logically required for that location. So different items can be required that otherwise would not be necessary, and a lot of runners don't necessarily look for it because they'll just tough out whatever heart damage they can get. Speaking of the Cane of Burna, there is the Cane of Burna.
And he's gonna make that swamp play as well. should see P-Train mirror right in front of Thieves Town and cash in this purple chest for.
Yep, he is doing exactly what you said. He's mirroring here.
Yep, the big reason to do that is so the meeting that we pick up at the end of Thieves Town, it will overwrite whatever follower you have. So grabbing that maiden will send that purple chest back to its home.
I've never actually seen this routing before. This is the first time I've seen this route played. Very nice routing to have the portal right by Thieves Town. You can just go right back with the flute and go straight back to Thieves Town after getting rid of the chest.
Yeah, it's not something that you really see it be an actual option too terribly much these days.
Yeah, first time I've ever seen it, and I've been watching for a couple of years myself. So very neat route to see.
Alright, so we've got Walther in Desert.
The P-Train gets his big key, so he's good to go for Thieves Town. It looks like JP is going to raid the King's Tomb right now. Oh no, he's skipping around that. Never mind.
Yeah, we
He
kind of
can't.
need some
He doesn't have
loot.
the boots yet. He needs the boots. Doesn't have the boots yet. Doing the Graveyard Ledge instead.
So big key was not boots locked. Or
So P-Train is checking a dungeon that Andy's already done. Andy's doing what Walther and JP have already done. Walther was checking out Desert Palace just a moment ago, and JP is wandering around the Dark World graveyard area. So while we are wandering around in areas we've generally seen already, just want to remind everyone to follow all of these runners. They are trying to qualify for the SG Live qualifiers. They are all very good top seasoned runners in this game. And any of these runners could be the big winner of the, I believe it's a $3,000 prize pool that goes to first place at the end of this event. And that's a lot of money. So definitely follow these guys. They're putting on a good show to try to win some serious money here. And also, they love having you at their stream. They love chatting with you. And you can always go by and thank them for these wonderful races and wonderful events that they take part in.
definitely. Alright, well, we'll likely see Walther do the exact same play. We'll likely see that green potion be used. Or the blue potion, one of those two. We'll pay close attention to the key layout this time.
I'm watching JP to see what this chest is. I haven't seen this chest yet. Just a compass in that chest. Walther is hopping over to Palace of Darkness, which I think is you said you're watching, so we're going to see what's on the Bollock side there. P-Train is doing the bottom of Thieves Town right now. He's going to get the Maiden. Going to be according to our trackers, our second runner to take on Blind in a moment.
Walther grabs his glove.
And he'll probably be a little disgusted when he gets to the mitts in the big chest. I think that was... I'm just trying to remember, actually. Maybe not. Okay. So P-Train gets his blind pun of the day and is very well on script right now. Very quick first phase. Very nice blind fight for P-Train. And he collects his big 20 and his crystal and moves on.
And JP is off to the moth fight.
Lothar is coming up on the chest on the Bowlock side. It was a key, as I thought it might be, so there was a key on the Bowlock side with the shovel.
Yeah, Mitts should be in logic.
I agree.
With one key, that means the only place, because there's one bow locked key door, equals only need bow to get the key to get to you home.
Now, the only thing not in logic at this point is the silver arrows, and since we do have to have the bow to do Ganon's tower anyway, those silver arrows will eventually be in logic anyway, and plus they're for the Ganon fight. We really want them for the Ganon fight, because it makes Ganon a lot quicker too. Not to mention bosses like Vitreous.
Alright, we are going to see our first pending completion pretty soon. Pod is what's going to unlock the rest of the seed for us.
Yeah, it literally is the key to the rest of the seed, because both gloves being in there, you have to have one of those gloves. The other key items were all found in the light world before we had to succumb to fighting Aghanim, so those two gloves are key to the entire seed. Andy is going through Swamp Palace right now. And we're getting our Bombos medallion check on Turtle Rock. It looks like both use Bombos today. We don't need any other medallions, ladies and gentlemen. Ether and Quake, they can stay wherever they are if we don't find them. And Pete?
And the only thing we could possibly find in T-Rock at this point would be bow.
He's not going to go in. The reason he's not going in is because he's going to check Hookshot Cave first.
And he doesn't have a cane to actually do anything in there.
That too. And he's going to go to Super Bunny Cave first before Hookshot, actually. Pedestal check. We just got our pedestal check. Just surprised me there. JP found a little piece of love on the pedestal, so pedestal is not going to have your bow today. There's your boots.
That's a nice place for some boots.
And it's now official. The speed run can now begin as P-Train rushes out of the cave.
We've already got the bow and TR call.
Yeah, that's a call that a lot of people are very comfortable making, because that's a very common place for that bow to end up in. I don't know why, either in Turtle Rock or locked behind Turtle Rock somehow. There's Ether, by the way, which you don't really need anymore.
And that's singular. And we'll probably see that Ether tablet check. I don't think we saw that yet. So we'll see that.
Nope, I don't think any runner has that chance.
Oh, he does not have the book, so we'll see the Spike Cave play.
Yeah, no book. That's right.
Yeah, because that book is hidden on a big chest in Swamp Palace.
And he's the only runner who has not done Swamp Palace yet. So we're running out of health, has to turn on the cane. There it is. And that's 20 rupees back there. So that cave turned out to not be fruitful. And starting in the Dark World, just a little tidbit of game advice. If you've killed Aghanim and you have all the items you need, stuff like the mirror, namely being the one item that you really need there, you will start in the Dark World if you finish in the Dark World.
Alright, looks like we are going to see that Swamp Palace play from Pete. See that finish off, and Andy is going to make his way over to Pod and get his 2 gloves.
And JP will be the only runner of our 4 restream runners who does not currently have the gloves once Andy gets over there. So Andy is on his way to there right now. I think JP's running out of locations he can check, though. He's probably going to have to go to Palace of Darkness next. I don't think it'll be long before he heads over there himself.
Should be the very next place. This should be his last location. I think we saw, yeah, we did see that trip on across the north part of Dark World, and we do see Walther hopping into Ice Palace now for that first red crystal.
And I find it interesting that none of our runners have made the play on Ice Palace yet. I know it is a crystal, and they might have been hoping to do it later because the dungeon you really don't want to do until you're in go mode, but there could be progress in Ice Palace today.
Yep. So far, we're just 1 for 2 on not making that play. The other two runners can't make that play yet.
And speaking of Ice Palace, Walther is doing that right now.
Key on that pen grader test is always awesome. Oh, and he went down the stairs at the same frame he killed Abari. So mirror to reset the dungeon. This game doesn't like it when you do things at the same frame.
Yeah,
something else.
Yeah, there's a really good example of that in Gan's Tower. We'll talk about a bit more later. But this game, if you do things on the same frame, it pretty much breaks.
Yeah, what that does,
Oh, what happened to the door there?
Not sure. It's like the rest of the sprites didn't despawn.
That is really strange. The door didn't look like it was opening, but it did open, and he was able to walk through.
And able to interact with sprites. Yeah, so what actually happens on this despawn is the game is confused on where Link actually is, and if you're on the wrong screen, it's like sometimes the sprites themselves don't interact with Link, and sometimes you have a different room loaded, but as far as sprites and the such, along with the visuals on what you should be seeing.
Okay, so we're going to do the bomb jump. This is a, at first, difficult trick, but once you have the placement for the bomb and for Link down, it is fairly easy to do. Walther did miss it this time. Now, there are a lot of different sprites in the game, and a lot of runners find changing the sprite will often change how they have to figure out the bomb jump. They have to figure it out all over again. So once a runner learns it for one sprite, they tend to like to stick to that sprite and just use the same sprite from there on.
I'd like to use any sprite that does not mess with the shadow.
Yeah, I've tried doing it with Kirby, and it's a little harder to figure it out. So we have Argus here, and I said we'll talk about him when we get another chance. Here's our final chance. He's covered by all these little eyeball-like things that are called Argai. Once you get all the Argai off, they die in a sword slash, or 2 if it's a weaker sword. Then you expose the octopus, and you generally just destroy it like that. And before I could even finish explaining it, the fight's already over.
Just in time for us to check out what's on the right-hand side of Ice Palace, on Walther's side. So far, just a map.
And a big key.
And that really makes sense. Really small key and big key by this chest is really nice, or by the spike chest by the time you come back to it is really nice. Makes this, how this dungeon is designed, you're supposed to make 2 giant loops throughout the entire dungeon to solve this dungeon normally. But having the right key layout, like we do right here, minimizes a lot of the weird backtracking and stuff.
And Walther moving straight to the first tile that falls in there. He falls down to B4. And again, the hint tile's not working. Not going to check that out. This door locks behind you, so if you don't have the hook shot, good luck. He does, so he can move through. You can bomb jump here, though, if you don't have the hook shot. That is possible.
P-Train forgot his key trying to open that door over there on Swamp Palace.
I think Walter was upset because he went to the wrong through the wrong door, and he's just doing the circle now, and now he's going to go to a different door, I imagine. That explains the sword slashes. He was doing a little bit of rage slashing there for a moment. Here's our check of ether that you were looking for earlier.
Here
JP's
we
going
go.
to do that right now. And praying to the gods and getting struck by lightning obtains you.
Well, we
Ooh.
found the two items, our last two items at the same time. In the Ice Tea Room in Ice Palace is the bow. We have some Maria on Ether Tablet.
So just like that, we're pretty much in commentary no mode. The only thing we could possibly still need is the ice rod. But given that Turtle Rock is a pendant, we don't have to defeat Trinex unless Trinex has something or something's locked on the pedestal, which we know there isn't. And as a result, we don't need that. So we're in no mode at this point.
We know everything we need.
Now the question will be who the first runner will be to get to go mode out of our restream runners.
Yep, so that fairly early swamp page is really going to pay off a lot for all other runners other than P-Train, who ended up being back in Dark Death Mountain area pretty early as a result of those early mitts. But as a result, did not have that book to check Ether, so that's a pretty orphan check at this point.
I want to say a little tech that just happened on Andy's side. You may have noticed that he pushed a block and then fired the hook shot at the block as it was moving. It didn't work the first time. By the second time, he was able to hook a shot onto the moving block at the new location and actually land where the block was moving to. So he was on the same sprite as the block, and he continued from there as if there was nothing there. So that's a little tech you can do to hook shot to a moving block and be able to move through that super money cave a little bit quicker without having to go upstairs.
Yep, a moving block sprite is as if there is no block at all.
And you can do the same thing with the mirror when you push the block. If you hit the mirror button, it'll actually cause the block to just completely vanish in that case, which is another option you can do to get.
Do not do that in a dungeon.
Exactly. That will put you back at the start of the dungeon. It doesn't work in dungeons. So P-Train is popping into Skull Woods right now. We have Walther heading, looks like around the overworld. Trying to figure out the exact location. I think that's the Palace of Darkness area. JP going into Palace of Darkness, and he's going to be our final runner to get the glove, which has been eluding him. Both the mitts and the glove are in here. And Andy is doing a Spike Cave.
Did Andy just orphan that Ether tab?
He might have. Did he hop off the ledge without checking it? That could be very costly.
Oh no.
Yeah, he does not have the King of Samaria in his inventory, according to the tracker. He might have realized he's trying to run back and get back there. Maybe he realized it. So he's going to probably hop off, climb back up, and mirror and work his way
Alright,
around.
he's going there.
He's going back, but he realized he forgot it. It would have been quicker to check it first, but he must have just realized as he was going through Spike Cave, oh no, I didn't do this, and I can't save and quit here, because it'll take me forever to get back here. There it is. Some quick thinking from Andy, and he's going to get his King of Samaria.
Yep, and with that, we'll probably see him go to Mire before he goes to Ice Palace. Hard to say.
Misery Mire is a place that people generally do.
Well, Ice Palace has more items.
But yeah, Ice Palace does have more items. He could choose to do that, but he is going to Mire. So he will not be in go mode going through Misery Mire. That means he will be checking all of the chests here. Whereas if he had gone to Ice Palace first, just explain the significance of this. If he had gone to Ice Palace first, he would have gotten his bow there, and he'd be able to just look for the big key and go straight to the boss. In this case, you gotta check all the chests here before going to Ice Palace and finding the bow there later on.
Meanwhile, we do have Peach Train finishing off Skullwoods. Does not have... Probably see Ice Palace from Peach Train next.
Well, P-Train does finish the bug fight and gets his pendant from there. I think I saw him doing some more rage slashing after the bug disappeared and he got the item. But he is going to take the pendant and leave. He has not checked the pedestal yet, so he does not know he does not need the pendant. You can, in fact, after getting the boss item, mirror back to the start of the dungeon and not pick up the pendant. And that saves the celebration time if you want to do something else.
Alright, it's not going to check that pedestal. Meanwhile, we do have Walther grabbing crystal number 4. And then pretty soon afterwards, crystal number 5 with a quick mirror over to Eastern.
So Andy working his way around Misery Mire. We're not worried about what a lot of these chests are because we know that none of these chests are really important except for the big key. So we're watching for that big key is located.
Alright, and now JP has got the meds and has unlocked the rest of the game fund. Definitely a play that you don't like to make it, and is digging through a really deep dungeon that you can't complete.
Yeah, I think it had to be bothering JP at this point that he was an hour into the scene. He didn't have either of the gloves yet. So I imagine picking up both gloves in Eastern Palace, he probably does not have a very good feeling of his position in the race at this point, which, interestingly enough, is not as bad as you would think because he's still got the same number of dungeons done. He's just behind a little bit in a progression sense because he hasn't been able to do some of the glove checks that other runners have been able to do. So he's not that far behind, but he actually probably feels like he's a lot further behind than he actually is.
Definitely.
And Walther taking around his bow in the B button. And does not have the silver arrows yet, it looks like.
Alright, P-Train's got the final medal upgrade. We're going to see a quick check over to King's Tomb right now. Or did I miss that one check? Okay, P-Train is looking like is going to be checking out that ether tablet for us.
Using a little trick to be able to lock in fast rocking speed. Now, I don't know the technical aspect of that as well as others do, but you can, if you're on a ladder, you can actually lock in your fast movement with the boots and just be able to run around with the boots entirely like you just did.
Alright, all P-Train needs to do at this point is go straight to Ice Palace next. Then we'll see go mode from P-Train as well.
I have a feeling he'll go there just a little bit before Andy, because Andy's going to take on Vitreous first. He's in the dark right now. So he'll probably beat Andy to Ice Palace by, I'd say, about a minute and a half, maybe. And as you said, he'll be the first of our runners to go into go mode once he finds that bow. He flew to the wrong location. I think that was an accident. He wanted to go to... he's going to Misery Mire. Oh, no. Andy will be the first runner to go into go mode. Now, if P-Train had gone to Ice Palace, he would have been able to pretty much go mode Misery Mire with the big key, and that would have saved him some time that Andy lost in Misery Mire, but now he's going to lose that same time in Misery Mire, and that means that while he is ahead on the dungeon count, that's going to be time that Andy can make up now with because P-Train went to Misery Mire just like Andy did.
I mean, Big Key was still fairly deep into Mire, so it's still a little bit as far as the chest order that you open.
Now notice that Andy was doing Sword Slash against the eye there. P-Train will have a much easier time with that fight because you may notice that he did get the shovel out of Eastern Palace, and that led to the silver arrows that were located in the flute spot today where you dig up
that
the
he
shovel.
Unfortunately cannot shoot without a bow.
Oh, you raise a very good point. They still don't have the bow, and that is located elsewhere in the Ice Palace. So yeah, that would have been a lot easier of a fight too. I guess that's true. In chat, he can lightly toss the arrows at him. Just stab with him, does the job.
Oh yeah, one of the changes that we're expecting, it will be that progressive bow for V30.
I think you cut out. Try that again.
I think one of the proposed changes was going to be that progressive. And so it might be something that we actually come see and play when it come the actual.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. And in the meantime, Andy is now in Ice Palace. He's going to do the first of the Pengator rooms right now. 4 down easily. 2 more down. And he gets his key from there. He's going to move on. And P-Train is going to move along. Nintendo Logic, just light some torches and a wall moves. And the wall is completed moving. So now he's going to go to the right side to find that big key location, whereas Andy is now going to work his way towards the Ice Palace bomb jump. One of the most technical aspects of the run that saves a lot of time here if you could master it, but he just hovers. He doesn't need a bomb jump.
Faster than bomb jump.
Yeah.
And with that early small key, we'll see right side get checked really fast. Likely. There we go.
And there's the mirror shield for Andy. And according to our tracker, he's our first runner to get the mirror shield. Not an important item, but it does reflect a lot of things that the other shields can't.
Alright, JP finishing up. Definitely going to see Ice Palace next. It's another pendant dungeon that can be... crystal dungeon that can be completed. And just a little bit away from go. Then after Thieves Town, we should see East Death Mountain from Walther, and possibly hopefully end with Ether. Possibly start with Ether. We'll see.
We'll see. So Andy does find his butter sword, and according to the tracker, our second round to find that. Walther already got his butter sword from Ice Palace earlier. The other 3 swords were in the light world before we got to Aghanim.
And Andy hovers his way over to where he's gonna find the bow. At an hour 14 and 33 seconds, we are in go mode on Andy's screen.
And that's a lot of time stay working the way around there. So he found that bow and he can just ignore everything else.
Yep, and then with And then in both Eastern and Pod, he's already got big keys, so let's just go straight to the bosses and on to GT from there.
Yep, at this point, Andy is in good position to win the race. But we will see what happens with the other runners here. They are not too far behind. JP has the same number of dungeons done. Actually, he has an extra dungeon done in Skullwood, but that's a pendant, so we're not going to count that one. But Walther does have 5 dungeons done himself, so he's not doing too badly himself. He can still compete with Andy in this if he can get himself into go mode quick.
Yep, and then we should see JP heading over to Ether. But JP's already got Ether. That's where we saw that King begin with. But just now, checking out the rest of this area.
If Walther can get up to Death Mountain in short order, he will get that cane, and he'll be in go mode. I think it's going to be hard for him to get up there quickly. I think he's going to have some other checks to make first. And he does get his 5th crystal, and he is now just the Eastern Palace of Darkness sandwich away from Gan's Tower. Walther is getting the frog, so as I know, a few checks he's making that before he gets up to Death Mountain again.
Looks like JP is going after that half magic. And just use that as some little bit extra safety for Ice Palace area and the Cold Surf.
I completely forgot about that half magic being there, actually. Because we said earlier the half magic is not required, but likely not to be picked up. But with Aghanim being required, why not pick it up? It's a nice safety to have going up places like Gan's Tower. So I don't question picking that up at all.
Yeah, it's like in the end, it doesn't save any time, and it's still a bit of a trip to get it back.
So P-Train now going to Ice Palace, and he will be going into go mode while he is here. So he will be our 2nd runner most likely to enter go mode. As Walther heads over to the swamp with the purple chest, he's still far away from that ether tablet to put himself into go mode. Actually, I guess the boots weren't required today unless the Gan's Tower big key is on the torch, so I guess it would still be go mode for him.
Yeah, so we'll find out. I mean, yeah, we'll find out if those boots are actually required. But well, 3 of the 4 runners have the boots right now.
They do.
Looks like Walther is going to be getting that cane first, so we might not see those boots on.
Well, Walther is going up Death Mountain right now, and I should point out the boots were okay in Super Bunny Cave. He will get them on the way to the Cane Samaria, most likely. So he will have those boots anyway. But yeah, it will be interesting either way to see if the boots were required in the event that someone missed that cave.
Yeah, he's going directly to Ether. Then as soon as he sees that cane, we're going to see that flute.
He's going a different route. So yeah, he's going directly up there. So he's not going to be getting Super Bunny Cave. So that could come back to be a bad situation for Walther if he goes into complete go mode and ends up finding the big key on the torch. That will really hamper his progress at this point. So he's in what we believe is go mode at 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 44 seconds, but it will depend again on the Gan's Tower torch.
We are going to find out in just a few minutes. And he's going to bring her over to Eastern Palace, get our final crystal, and then go straight to Death Mountain from there. And straight to GT.
Meanwhile, our other 2 runners are in Ice Palace. They are going to be getting their bows, respectively, and they will be going into go mode themselves. So we will have all 4 runners in go mode in just a couple minutes here. P-Train about a minute. Well, actually, not quite a minute. Maybe about 45 seconds or so away from his go mode. JP about another minute and a half behind that, I would say.
And not too far away.
Nope. Walther going into the Misery Mire area right now. He, of course, is in go mode. He is just looking for that key, but we know it is far in, so it won't be that easy.
Yeah, still a full clear. Effectively a full clear. I said, unless they decide to gamble that key lock chest on the right hand side, or not necessarily key locked, but the far right chest.
And Walter getting his small key off the bridge, and JP is working through some of the tricky areas of Ice Palace here. This is one of the rooms that is really tricky. It's very easy to not realize there's a chest in here. There's so many things you have to do to get to that chest. Lifting this block in the way, pounding these pegs, eventually pulling the tongue, but first pulling the switch to pull that chest. That tongue opens the door, whereas that switch out of the pod opens the chest. So if you go just straight to the tongue and open the door, you may not even realize there's a chest in that.
Alright. Andy just a few arrows away from his final crystal.
And there is the final crystal. Dropping from the sky right now. So, ladies and gentlemen in chat, get your guesses in chat for the Gans Tower Big Key guessing game. We're not going to be running the bot because this is a large race, a community race in a sense. But we are going to ask you to get your guesses in. 1 to 22 is where that big key can be. Where do you think that big key is today, JC?
Let's go with right hand side GT. Bottom left.
Got a number?
Let's see somebody gambles, we'll call that a 7. No, not 7.
A bottom left would likely be a 6 if someone gambles right side. I think you're right on that. And I'm just going to say always 11 because, well, always. For me, 11 is usually in the rando room. I expect them not to gamble right side. But depending on the routing, that could end up being in Dark Magician. It could be in that same room you're talking about.
Alright, Walter's got his final big key to get his final crystal.
P-Train has exited Ice Palace. He does have his bow. JP is coming up on the big chest right now, which she has not opened yet.
Alright, Walter's going to be entering GT a few minutes ahead of P-Train and Brew and JP. There's a lot of section where the boots will speed up a lot of GT. Will that be enough for them to catch up?
The left side and right side play could make a difference here. If it's on the right side and Andy goes full left, P-Train or Walter going full right could be decisive. But it is a large amount of time. If Andy is flawless on the left side, if that were to be the case, it may be too much of a gap to overcome. We will see.
It's definitely a giant gap. I don't think anyone's going to catch up to Andy at this point.
I don't think so either. Not of our restream runners anyway.
Yeah, not yet.
By the way, speaking of this, again, there are about some 20 some odd racers in this race. Even though it is a tournament qualifier, it is still in the sense of community race. So that's why we don't run the big key guessing game bot as well. With that said, we will cover all finishers once we have our first finisher on stream. So we don't know if anyone's finished yet because we're not watching that. But once we have our first finisher here, we will cover them all on stream. So Andy going into the... It looks like it was not on the torch because he continued past it. So boots not required. Walter was definitely...
4.
Was that the big key? I just missed it.
Yep, we got big key and number 4.
Wow, number 4 today. That was a very early big key. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to catch Andy now.
Yep, and we've got 3 small keys, so no need to open up any more. Andy's well versed in Ganon fights without any extra safety, so not going to be an issue out of him.
And he'll probably just hover around Moldorm too, as long as it doesn't push him in the pit. So he's going to have a very easy time.
he is going to have to pick up this arrow.
One thing I want to cover, and this is something that is related in the tournament rules. You notice he's killing the mimics in here right now with the bow and arrow. Now, there is a way you can actually do this room without the bow and arrow. We call it mimic skip, GT mimic skip. You'd have to get the mimics off screen. You have to get the mimics off screen the same way you would in Palace of Darkness, but this is a much harder trick to do. And given the technical aspects, and in some cases, I guess even the RNG related to the trick, it's been determined that you are not allowed to use that trick in the tournament, so you still need the bow and arrow to get through here.
It's a fairly similar method to major glitch categories on before a lot of the other bomb clips and stuff were found. It's pretty close to the same method, but not exactly. So it involves a bunch of one-frame input.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult trick to do. It's probably something that I'll never be able to do. If you want to refer to that, I'm not one of those top players at all myself. So it's a very, very difficult trick. Very hard for anyone to do. So if you're skilled at that trick, that's a really good trick to have in a race. But in this tournament, it's not allowed.
Yeah, it looks like Walter is going to get his boot along the way.
So it's going to be nice to have, but not actually needed. At least we'll let them go a little faster.
Just like that, Andy is already done with the gauntlet, already done with land mode 2.
Walter, by the
rooms away.
Walter, by the way, is insert in go mode now. He knows he's in go mode now. In fact, he has all 7 crystals, so he's just absolutely happy to find those boots right now because he knows he can check the torch now. He doesn't have to leave and come back.
Or gamble the rest of GT chest.
Mm-hmm. You can almost tell when a runner's been burned by the GT torch before. I have a feeling he's had it happen to him before. That might be why he was checking those chests along the way.
Yeah, man, it's a extremely fast chat. Just a couple of seconds lost. It's not going out of his way at all to get him.
So we have P-Train getting his, looks like his final crystal at this point. He's going to be going to GT himself, Gannis Tower.
Whoops, I guess we don't get to see another boss fight here. Oh. On to Aga. Pretty nice starting pattern. Should have been a double. I'm not sure if that was too close. That one's a double.
I like to refer to this as trigonometry boss. You have to figure out the pattern to get the orbs back to Aghanim, and he's just dropping his bombs right now because he doesn't need his bombs anymore. He's trying to shortcut to the arrows, but it looks like he got the bag of powder instead.
Yeah, but it'll just be one less input in that menu for him to switch on over to the fire rod. And this will be a pretty comfortable fight for Andy. 6 gold sword slashes per phase. It'll be easy one-on-one. We see him mess around doing some nice little dash cancels while hanging out inside of Ganon.
And Andy is well versed in this fight, so yeah, this is phase 2 right now. He's getting the fire bat circle. And he's definitely got more than enough hits, so we're going to go into Temper Tantrum mode in just a moment here. Why do I call it Temper Tantrum mode? Because we're going to see some of the 4 go away. And Hal by again having a temper tantrum, just like that. Getting a few extra hits in. Now, those hits don't really do anything in the mode where you're looking at silver arrows, but he does not have silver arrows. So he's trying to get some extra hits in because of that. And did you find the silver arrows in the light world? No, they were buried in the flute spot.
Alright, at this point we need 12 hits on Ganon at this point. Should be able to time it so you get 3 hits per cycle on this torch lighting. If you
I thought I was going in the pit. That was close.
He's fine, nothing to worry about.
That was heartbreakingly close, though.
There's a bit of leeway as long as you don't actually get hit.
Now, we've definitely had our share of close calls among the many events here on SpeedGaming. So, again, Andy is one of those runners who is well versed in the kind of leeway that it does have. So I'm sure he was in no danger at all. And
should be a couple hits away. One or
two more. Yeah, there it is. So that's going to be Gandy down with some bacon created for Andy. And he will be the first of our restream runners to finish the race today. Now, the question will be just where in the pecking order did Andy end up finishing? He just crossed a 1x3 bridge. We're going to find out. Andy finishes. Actually, let me see what the Triforce says first. Then I will cover his finish. Triforce says, and scene. And Andy finishes with an official SRL time, if I can find it in the list here. Because
it's a 1 hour and 31 minute flat. Finishes first.
That is first place.
Finishes by 22 seconds. We have off-screen F. Coughlin finishing at 1 hour 31 minutes and 22 seconds.
And we'll stop there because we want to make sure we get the finishes in tandem with the stream here. So we'll keep in mind the chat we're looking at is 20 minutes ahead of us. So we're going to cover the finishes as we cover to the time on the stream.
Hell yeah.
For anyone who's in that channel.
And we do have Andy with us right now. GG's.
GG, Andy.
So that was a scene.
Yeah, it was definitely something. I get to do a nice darker loop, do everything in my path. Nothing was too crazy. The only bad location really was Canis Maria, I guess.
You like the two gloves both being in Palace of Darkness?
Yeah, I was a little worried about that. Someone could have done pod after Aghanim and then gotten booed super early, but I don't think it would have changed that much overall.
It ended up hurting P-Train quite a bit. He was the only runner on the restream that did pod, and that was because he did Aghanim before Eastern, so he had that mirror portal that put him right in front of pod already. But then that ended up sending him to Death Mountain pretty early before he even touched Swamp, so he didn't have that book to check the Ether tablet.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I was thinking about, was if they did boots, they got mids early, they're isolated, so it would have been better for me in the long run, probably.
Yeah, I think P-Train was the first to actually pick up the glove there, and if I'm remembering the order correctly, I think it was him that did that, because I think he made the Aghanim play first before everyone else did, who went to Eastern Palace first. By the way, we're looking at our restream runners here. We do have Walther now on the Ganon fight himself, and just takes a death. Oh, that is unfortunate. Does he have a fairy? No, he does not. It's a game over. He's going to have to do it again.
Fortunately, the games just put you right here, so not too terribly much of a loss. It was early into phase 2, so no big deal.
Yeah, it was so very early in the fight, given that we have a gold sword. So, gold sword makes it a very easy fight. Literally melts the fight, so to speak, because it takes a lot less time.
And we do see that hover from P-Train as well.
Very nice.
Let's see, this was your first race of the qualifiers, Andy?
Yep, first one. So, starting off strong, I suppose.
Just as you planned it. We were hoping for boots on Moldorm chest, that way you can't have that hover advantage over half the. But that early hook shot that helps it too, I guess.
That was a very nice early hook shot, given that we had a lot of items in the light world today, and it was just those 2 gloves that were literally the key to the seed. All those items in the light world, you had a lot of checks you could do before you even went diagonal. I was actually starting to wonder if we were going to see all 3 light world dungeons before going diagonal.
Yeah. I also I forgot to do hobo before Aghanim, but it was
Oops.
okay. I was
only at $20 anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna do all the Zord checks and then reset if nothing was there. The cape was on the ledge, so I was like, fine, whatever.
We need to catch up a finisher here. We have another finisher on stream. But before we get to Walther's finish, 3rd place went to Marty7449, who finished with a 134.39. So get a GG for him as well. Walther finishes in 4th place with a 135.22, and we'll see if he wants to join us.
And we do have Petrie starting his game in 5. Found his bow before the gold sword. Same thing with JP. That was I think that sword was the Freezor chest.
The gold sword?
I think so.
It might have been. I know it was an ice palace. You think you're right on the Freezor chest. Petrie does actually does.
That was a 1
See
and
if he
2.
has. No, he does not have the gold sword. Now, by the way, I do see Walther has joined us in the live channel, so GG, Walther.
Yo, GG's, guys.
We're just catching up on P-Train's finish here. I think he'll be finishing the game fight very shortly. But while we watch him finish, what were your thoughts on that seed today?
It was interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird one. I'm glad I didn't go all the way over to like Skullwoods and Feastown right away. I guess. I wish I would have gone up to the tablet earlier, but it was such a long way for the useful like 1 check. But I kind of wanted the book to lead something because that was like the only thing in Skullwoods. But I went to Desert instead.
And we'll catch up with P-Train now, who just finished on stream. He was our 7th place finisher with a 137.15. We also have 2 more finishers before that. Fear Agent came in 5th place with a 136.26, one of our many setup helpers on SpeedGaming as well. Very familiar with him around here. Ninban finished with a 136.32 in 6th place. So there's our top 7 so far. We have another finish from Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna with a 137.29 in 8th place. Get your GG in chat for that. So what was your reaction, Walther, to the gloves being in, to both the mitts and the gloves being in Palace of Darkness? I think you were a lot, if I'm not mistaken, no, it was Brewers it was JP who did that last. What was your reaction to those items over?
I thought it was kind of funny, especially since like the bow was in Ice Pass too, so it's like hard required to double dip it. Yeah, that was kind of funny. I wanted to buy potions like before going there to be able to like potion glitch or yeah. But if I bought a potion, I wouldn't have enough money to like get into pot. So it's like went down to Swamp instead, and I guess luckily I got a couple of potions from Swamp at least.
Yeah. And then with that particular key logic, and then obviously since we found Bow and Ice Palace, that was a definitely in logic thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, everything in pod was in logic except for the shovel without the bow.
And the silver arrows were locked behind the shovel. That was one thing Andy did not find. He didn't get the silver arrows out of the dig spot there, but didn't need them. He did finish first on the restream.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
JP did not get the.
Yeah, he doesn't have it either.
He does have. I think JP still has at least the blue potion. But we're not. So we'll be fine on the magic still, even though we missed the torch glitch on this fight.
Yeah. When you have silver scan, you want to get that torch push if you can. It really pains to miss that.
Yep, it's still possible to get 3 spins per cycle. It's really tight to time it properly.
It is. You're listening for an audio cue as the best time to light the torch, but very often you're going to end up with 2 if you mistime it.
Decide to light can on fire too. That would be fun.
Yep, that's going to be another torch pattern, and he does light the or get the extra magic, so he is good to go for that now. He should be able to finish from here. Lots of health.
Not at most two spins left.
We have another finisher in the meantime while we watch JP finish. Sir Linkalot finished in 9th place with a 139.27, and JP is now just has to cross a 1x3 bridge. Will he make it in time to make it into the top 10 today? We'll find out in just a moment. The door opens, and he does cross in 10th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 47 seconds. Get your GGs in. Now that the runners on stream have all finished, I will catch up the SRL channel here. There are a couple other finishers I'll cover, and we'll stop there for now. 143.40 Incoherent in 11th place. Cassidy Moan in 12th place with 144.04. And we do have a couple of casualties. I won't name them. And Nif Boy in 13th at a 148.22. That is far enough for now. We'll stop there for now. But GG to all those runners and everyone else who is finishing as well.
Yeah, so we do have P-Train here. GG's on that.
Hey, hello.
So those early mids for you, blessing and a curse at the same time.
So I've been sitting here waiting in voice because I wasn't sure if anyone else was tracking this, right? So both the big key chest in Pod and the big chest in Pod have conditional requirements depending on whether the bow is available. If the bow, the lamp, and the hammer are logically available, they require 1 extra key to access. So that basically, that was the gamble that I did once I hit Dark World. I gambled on Aga because I was in the castle and I was missing 2 pieces of Dark World. So I was like, okay, you know, if a glove and pearl is in the eastern Sajrala area, I'll take that, whatever. But when I found the mitts and the gloves, I gambled on clearing everything I could that did not require a glove to access. So, I mean, I routed the smith in and stuff like that just because it was convenient. But, yeah, the ether tablet was the last location for me that bow could have been on if the mitts and glove were bow locked. Which is why that's how I got Samaria before I did either swamp or ice.
By the way, welcome JP into the channel as well. He has joined us. GG.
GG.
And if you can carry on, if you were still going, P-Train, didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I mean, that was just that. I was okay with the Aga gamble. Even if it didn't play off, I'd make that any seed. Like, I thought that was a reasonable play. Maybe I shouldn't have focused on the gloves so hard. But yeah, I was really trying to avoid glove lock locations until I found the bow. And the moment I got Cane of Samaria off of the ether tablet, I knew that Pod wasn't bow locked, so I could start chasing, glove lock locations at that point.
And JP, you were our last of our 4 runners on the restream. Again, I don't know everyone else, but on our restream to find the both the glove and the mitts in Palace of Darkness. Take us through your thinking in that first hour while you were still looking for them.
Well, I mean, once I knew I had to do Aga, which I was waiting for until I found the Moon Pro before I did the Aga play because you couldn't do much else. I saw my inventory right away and I knew, okay, Swamp is in Logic right now, so I'm going to go straight there. Because I knew it was a possibility that I just had the hookshot and flippers to get over to Western Dark World, but usually when you get all that stuff early, it's a sign that Swamp's got something, which be fair, it did. It had the book, but it didn't have something. I was hoping for something better, I guess. And then, so once I didn't find it there, I started going to Western Dark Road. I was starting to feel, okay, I'm feeling like I probably haven't found anything for a little bit. I need to make a little bit of a move here. So I tried doing Skullwoods before Thieves Town, and that didn't yield anything. I don't think that cost me any time in the end, though, because I would have done Skullwoods before anything else, since I could have cleared it, even if I'd done Thieves Town first. Then I decided I'm going to take a quick look at Desert, because I want that book to yield something. And, of course, Desert was locked right away, so that was a quick out. Once I found it on Pod, I knew I was probably in trouble, so I was actually kind of hoping that maybe it was right in Mire, which it wasn't, though I don't think I wasted time in Mire either, because that wasn't God Mire. You were going to probably find both items before you found the big key either way.
Mm-hmm.
Went up to do Dark Death Mountain because I'm like, I'm going to check these before going to Ice Palace. At least that got me the boots, so that helped a little, but overall, then I found an Ice Palace, the Bone Ice, which wasn't so bad. Saved me for some overworld checks, but I don't know. Overall, getting those myths late, I knew I was in trouble, and I was not playing well today. I could tell from my play. That was not a good performance from me.
Well, I mentioned during the race as well. When we got to that point, I actually said that you probably felt like you were in serious trouble at that point. I can say that you and Walther did Swamp Palace at exactly the same time. You were both in there at almost exactly the same time, almost maybe about a minute or so apart at most, 30 seconds to a minute apart at most, I want to say, without remembering the exact times. But you were both in Swamp Palace at the same time. I think P-Train, you went right to Palace of Darkness, and you found the myths in the glove right away. And Andy, I think, started in Skull Woods, if I remember correctly. I think that was the first place Andy went. So that was there was a very divergent path, and it was interesting how you all ended up crisscrossing and coming back to the same places in the end. So even though, as I said on the stream, JP, even though you surely felt like you were a mile behind, the way that you had to, because you had to go to all the different dungeons to find all these different pieces anyway, you actually weren't that far back. I think you and P-Train were the only two on the restream to complete a pendant dungeon. You both did the one pendant dungeon. You were about 3.5 minutes apart. So it actually wasn't that bad. For not playing well, you still did very well in this race, I think.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that was the other thing that got me late too, was as I was climbing up to GTA, I was thinking back on the seed, and it's like, you didn't have to touch a pendant dungeon in this seed. Mm-hmm. Though it was, of course, very tempting to, because you had to double dip Eastern and Pod. Both were required double dips. Don't think you had to double dip anything else, but the pendants were still tempting because just to how the seed played out. I was honestly at one point thinking, do I want to just take a really big risk and go into Turtle Rock? But I decided, no, I'm going to keep it the crystals for now, which at least that didn't get to me. But, yeah. I was within 9 minutes of Andy, I think. You can't complain too much about that.
Yeah, according to your timer, is about 9 minutes and 46 seconds, I want to say. Yes, I'm doing math on Twitch. Risky thing to do. But, you were definitely within 10 minutes there, and that was very good at that aspect. Andy, obviously, is a really good runner at this game. I see he's already left the channel, by the way. I don't see him in here anymore. But, so again, GG to Andy, and thank you for joining us for the moment there that you did. He is one of our very absolute top skilled runners, not just at the randomizer, but the regular vanilla game as well. So definitely a treat to watch him play, and definitely a good way to compare yourself as a runner when you play someone like Andy. And yeah, you were all within 10 minutes of him, so that was a very close race from that perspective.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that it's easy to figure out these qualifiers is placing doesn't matter so much as time. Being within 9 minutes of him, or probably within, I don't know, it was 7-8 minutes of the top three. I think overall my score that would come out of this race is still probably pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, third place in this was, just to confirm again from the list, Marty with a 1:34.39. Fred came in with a 1:31.22 in second. So those were our other top 3 times. Andy with a 1:31 flat. So yeah, if I'm not sure myself, I need to research the scoring a little bit more myself. But if it is based on top 3, then yes, you'd be looking at the 1:34.39 as the basis, and that's not a very bad difference at all.
Our time would be about a 1:32-ish.
1:32-ish.
Doing the
Okay, I'll say
in my head. Oh, it's the average of the top 3.
average of the top 3. Okay, that was the detail I wasn't sure on. So yeah, average of the top 3 in this case, we're looking at the average of those 2 1:31 times, which were very close, and that 1:34. So that would take it down to about a 1:30. I want to say something around a 1:32.25 or 30, somewhere in that range is probably around where the average would be. Maybe a little lower, but somewhere close to that.
Good. Did you guys see my despawn of ice pals, by the way?
We did see that. We did.
And then
I got very confused for a while there.
we thought you despawned a second time, but the sprites were still there, even though that door didn't open on you.
Yeah, I think it was just like some weird thing with the door from like the first time I did it or something.
Yeah, something got left over in the memory, and I wonder, because I saw you going through a closed door. I'm like, wait, what just happened here? And
Yeah.
I remember reacting to that. So
Yeah, I think I killed like the jellyfish at the same time as I walked down the stairs, which opened like the other door. I think that's what just despawned.
Yeah, for ice pals, that's in that particular area. That should be the only thing that you could have.
anyway, we should probably get started wrapping up here. So any other? I'm just curious, but while we're still here though, how many races have each of you done so far in these qualifiers?
This was my second.
Yeah, that's
Second?
my first one.
yeah, this is my first one as well.
Very nice. So we're still going to see a lot more of each of you throughout these qualifiers coming up. Now, whether we'll obviously restream or not, I can't say that. I don't make that decision, but we definitely look forward to seeing how you each do in the further qualifiers. And we do want to wish you all the best luck. Any final thoughts tonight?
I just finished with a question, I guess. How many are you supposed to do?
Supposed to do 5.
5, okay.
Yep. Your best time and your worst time will be discarded. So even if you don't feel too hard about this one, you've got 4 other chances to step.
Okay, nice. Well, thanks guys for commentating and tracking and restreaming, and yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you as well.
And
All
oh, sorry, go ahead.
So what we've got coming up, so we should have a qualifier, I believe it's 6 o'clock tomorrow, or double check on that.
Yeah, I'm going to be covering that in a second. I just want to first of all say to remember to follow all these runners. Their names are as you see them on the screen, except for a couple cases. P-Train without a hyphen is P-Train24, and XX Walther IVX is how you can find him. So if you're watching our YouTube restreams of these or YouTube video of the races after the fact, or even on Twitch, that's how you can find their channels, twitch.tv, followed by those names. So those 2 I mentioned, or Andy, or as you see Brewers Fan JP on the screen, you can find any of those runners. Make sure you also follow JC87, also an accomplished speedrunner himself, and definitely a very knowledgeable person on a lot of games, not just on Link to the Past, but I know I've seen you doing some Link's Awakening speedrunning as well. So very nice to have you in the booth with me today. And Fabrice N and Math Girl 718, who both did the tracking, say thank you to both of you as well today. You can go ahead if you have to schedule up.
All right, so for more Link to the Past qualifiers, we do have another one that is, the restream time is going to be around 7:20ish tomorrow even. That starts at, the actual race time is going to be starting at 7 o'clock. We do have runners on a 20-minute delay, so they'll be a touch behind us, or a touch ahead of us rather. For other Zeldas, we do have the other qualifier for Ocarina of Time. That one starts at noon tomorrow. Get your friends in on that one. It's like, definitely like to see more people come out for those ones. It's a lot more involved of a randomizer, a lot more things to keep, an extra dimension to keep track of on when you're doing all the different tricks and stuff. And something exciting, I think we are last I heard we were playing on a crowd control between the two qualifiers. I don't have any details or if we actually confirmed anything else on that one. I'll have to double check that later.
But nonetheless, crowd control race is always fun because you can mess with the runners, so you definitely want to come back and check that out whenever we have those on.
But yes, like another thing that we're planning to do is like with the crowd controls, we also have a couple mini marathons that we're planning in the next couple months. And then the goal on all of these is we are trying to raise funds to help SpeedGaming staff to get to our venue in Virginia for October. We're trying to help get a link to the past randomizer tournament admins are helping out with this. And then since we also mentioned that the top 3 we're going to get subsidized travel, we're also trying to raise funds to help out on that as well.
And that's definitely a good thing to earn if you are able to earn that as one of the runners in this event as well. You are not only do you get your top placement, you're guaranteed to take part of the event, but you get a pass into the event. You get your cost of the event covered to some extent, and it means that we are making sure that we do get the best runners at this game at the event, so we can have these top runners playing live at this event, and we try and get the best runners out there at the very end to when we get to the end of the bracket on the final day of the event, we get to get the best runners out there showing off their skills live with live commentary, and it's just going to be a treat to watch. If you remember the SGDQ or AGDQ race back in 2018, this could be a lot like that, except it's going to be after a whole part of a whole tournament, not just that one race. So it's going to be that AGDQ 2018 race multiplied by however many races we have. It's going to be a lot. Very exciting. Yeah, a lot. It's going to be very exciting. Going to be a lot of fun. And oh boy, I wish I could go myself. I really wish I could go myself. But obviously cost and other commitments too. So
all you have to do is join 5 qualifiers and get top 3.
Easier said than done, I would say, in my case. But yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all the different events going on there. Obviously, the Ocarina of Time speed runs going on there. I've never understood that randomizer. I'm not even going to try, but it is a fun speed run for those that are able to follow that. And I think all the other events are going on there as well. We're going to have a marathon going on at SG Live, so make sure you check that out. I'm actually putting in the channel our SG Live command, so if you want to get more juicy information on everything happening at SG Live, click on that link, speedgaming.org/SG Live, and you can get more information not only on the event, but also on all the different qualifiers going on for those different tournaments that we know about as well. And you can keep track of all the updated information on that. The actual live event is October 24th to 27th in Herndon, Virginia, so feel free if you want to get one of those tickets to come join our Speed Gaming admins and our Link to the Past admins and all the crew and runners live. Get in there and go check it out. Definitely going to be a lot of fun. I wish I could go.
All right, with that being said, we had a long, fun, and exciting day on Speed Gaming. It is time to call it a night. So thanks to everybody for dropping by. Thanks to the runners for this amazing race, this fun seed. And we will see you all tomorrow.
And before we do wrap up, I just want to cover very quickly, make sure you come out for more events tomorrow here on Speed Gaming as well. Not just the qualifiers for SG Live, but also some Final Fantasy, some Diddy Kong Racing, some Momodora, Referee Under the Moonlight. These are other tournaments that are happening around Speed Gaming as well. Follow Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6 to keep tabs on all those events, as well as our foreign channels. And you can, if you watch in a foreign language, you can get all those as well. I am Cyclone Recycling GU. Thank you again, JC, for joining me on the mic, and I hope that you all have a wonderful evening. May not all your seeds be pet seeds, and good night.